Hello, welcome back to Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I'm James Palton. I'm here to give my preview of Everton's game against Brighton Hove Albion on Monday night. I do have the dog next to me. He's scratching himself vigorously, just in case any noise comes through. His name is Dixie though, so everyone should be a big fan of his. But anyway, more importantly, we're looking towards this Brighton game. I've just been speaking to Maz off Seagull Social. Really good lads, and yeah, we were just talking about how well Brighton are doing this season, how not well or not so well Everton are doing this season. How he thinks about the new manager or newish, how he thinks about our newish manager. So it's a good listen. If you want a better insight maybe on Brighton, go give that a watch. Whether that's up now, whether that goes up after this one, I'm not 100% sure, but go and check it out either way, whenever it becomes available to you. But yeah, this can be a really tricky game for Everton. That was kind of the gist of our conversation. But then again, so are most games at the minute, because Everton are in a bit of a pickle once again. But I do think after Monday night, people are always talking about points totals, how many games we need to win, all these sorts of things. I think the unanimous kind of verdict is Everton probably need to win 2 games to get out of this mess. I think people always talk about how, say Everton need to win a couple of games, but it obviously kind of depends on what the other teams do, but also in relegation battles, teams down there for a reason. You might get one team who kind of spare up from nothing. Maybe that's already happened with Bournemouth, I don't know. Maybe they're the team who've done it this year and they've just done it a bit earlier than Portsmouth or Wigan used to do, whatever. But it's certainly not very usual for 3 or 4 teams who've struggled to win all season to win 3 or 4 games out of 5, or out of 4. I think West Ham maybe have 5 if they're still in there. That kind of depends on how you see it. The dog's making a bit of noise, I'm afraid. But yeah, I'm kind of looking at it and I'm saying that if Everton were to do that, I think they would probably be okay. Is Monday a game I think Everton can win? Of course, Everton can win any game they play. They've beaten every team in the Premier League at some point before. Why can't it be now? But yeah, I think of the 4 games, this is definitely Everton's second hardest. Mostly behind Man City and then probably Wolves and Bournemouth. The flip-flop merchants at the end of the season. Hopefully, fingers crossed. They're kind of going to be a hopefully slightly easier team to play against, but obviously only time will tell. This is going to be a tricky one, I think it's fair to say. Again, speaking to Maz, and he's very pleased with 7 or 8 players at Brighton. I think we're probably looking at 1 or 2 players at Everton who you probably would just say you wouldn't blame for what's happened. It's a very different mood, very different vibe, but 2 very differently run clubs. Couldn't be more polar opposite. Obviously Everton have got a fantastic history. Brighton don't, in the sake of they haven't won 5 FA Cups, they haven't won 9 league titles, they haven't done those sorts of things, but what does it matter when at the minute in the current day, when things are more important right now and where we are in the present, they're doing much better on the pitch, off the pitch, and obviously you think we're going to have to do a hell of a lot of catching up if we want to get to where they are. So and for the 3rd time this video, it's going to be a tricky one, it really is. But I was looking at our format, the Amex, and to be fair, we've lost 2 games there. We've drawn 2 games there, and we have won 1 game there. When was that? It was last season. There goes the dog there. It was last season, and I mean Brighton away last season just feels like a lifetime ago. Honestly, I can barely even picture what life looked like back then, because it was just so long ago in terms of how much you've been through in the meantime. It's only a case that it's less than 2 years ago. It's you're looking at maybe 18 months or whatever, but it's insane how quickly things can change in football. Obviously at the time Brighton had lots of good players, they had a good young manager, they were getting better, but I don't think anyone saw them breaking into the sort of top 6 that they're doing at the minute. And obviously at the time you're thinking Everton start the season well, maybe they're going to be okay, but things have kind of, there he is there. Maybe but it's funny how things work out. I say funny, it's aged me horribly actually, but I was looking at some of these results and I genuinely couldn't even remember a couple of these games. I mean, the 1-1 draw, October 2017, I do remember that because we started the season really badly under Ronald Koeman. I remember thinking, like, we're getting beat here by a newly promoted team early doors in the season. It was in October time. Dog is doing some crying here. There he is. What's up, mate? Oh, he looks like... that's what I look like when I have to go to the match at the minute, you know. He's not pleased at all, but yeah, I think Wayne Rooney equalised late on. The next game at the Amex after that, we lost 1-0. We didn't deserve to lose that game. I remember it well enough anyway. That was under Silva. We then lost 3-2 with that ridiculous Michael Keane, Aaron Connolly penalty decision. Michael Keane also played in the game where we drew 1-1 with Rooney. He played in the game where we got beat 1-0, played in the 3-2 defeat. So, yeah, will he play on this Monday? I'm not sure. But then we drew 0-0 under Ancelotti when our subs bench, the numbers added up to like 410 or something. It was absolutely insane in terms of the squad numbers on the back of those players' shirts, because had so many young players. Nathan Broad had got minutes. I think Isaac Price might have been in the squad. It was insane. It really was. But things carried on that way for a little bit in the under Ancelotti, and I'd say we won 2-0 under Rafa Benitez. So yeah, mixed record there. Not great. Obviously, they've won the last couple of games at Goodison. The Dogs moaning. What you doing? What's going on, mate? You've got some sort of tactical nous to throw in here. Yeah, he also doesn't want Michael Keane to play on Monday night, do you, mate? Absolutely not. But yeah, it's again, for the fourth time, it's going to be a really tricky game. I'd take a point now, and being totally honest with you, and I may seem a little bit negative. We're a few days away from the game. We don't know how other teams have gotten on, but yeah, I think I would have to kind of say I would definitely take a point now. If we can get out alive, and then it's all Operation Goodison exercise, isn't it, against Man City, and see what we can do there. It's going to be tricky, as Dixie clearly thinks as well, mate. You're not looking forward to it either, no? No, he's not at all. I don't even think you can even hear this, but he is audibly whining at me, so I'll have to wrap this up. But yeah, I haven't mentioned it's going to be a tricky game for Everton on Monday night. But look, I've got faith that Everton can go there and get a result, and I think if Everton were to go there and put the brakes on Brighton, they played very, very well last night. Everton had a really good performance on Monday in terms of, we had, I think, 3.5 XG. We had 18 shots from inside the box, I think I saw. We did really, really well in lots of ways on Monday, but unfortunately, individual errors, lack of quality at times, they're the things that have plagued us all season. They played us on Monday against Leicester. If we can just string together 90 minutes of players who really care about Everton, who are giving it their all for Everton, and if the manager just makes one or two little tweaks and 1 or 2 changes, we can do something here on Monday. I really do think that. And while we have been porked in a couple of games, certainly at home, obviously Brighton is one of them, Newcastle another that come to mind, games where we have just been second best. Away from home, we have kept it relatively tight, as far as I can recall, under Sean Dyche. We'll see if Monday is another one of them. The dog's got something in his mouth, don't know what it is, but anyway, I'll wrap it up on that note. Let's just hope we can get that 3 points. If not, let's try and get out of there alive, get a point, go back to Goodison next week and see what we can do against City. So thank you all very much for watching this slightly chaotic match preview. That's kind of my state of mind. And is he there again? I know, I thought he jumped up there. But yeah, thank you all very much for listening, and we'll see you again next time.